So what I want to talk about today is one of my favorite games ever, and it's Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Origins, and just on the basis of that, I went ahead and ordered the steelbook of this game. And as you can see, it's very nice. It also came with a keychain that matches and goes with it. I have a small collection of Assassin's Creed stuff, very small. I have this Ezio figure and this Assassin's Creed Unity coin. So I don't have a very big collection of Assassin's Creed stuff, but I really just worry about the games. So this is a really fun game, and I highly recommend it. So what I want to do in this video is talk about this, the Assassin's Creed Odyssey Collector's Edition Guidebook. Now when I purchased this, it was in plastic and it came with a few attachments. It was bundled with it, and as it describes in this insert, there's a foldable map / poster. Talks about the game, and then there's free digital access to an interactive world map and some tables and stuff, so you can redeem it with a code inside of the bundle. This really nice map / poster that has close-up details of one of the masks that was the evil cult war in the game. The two main characters, the brother and sister, and you can play either one of them. And the other side of it is a map of Greece that you will be solving all of your mysteries and going on your quests in. There's the two main characters again, the brother and sister. And then we have our map key down here. The game starts here in Kefalonia, and you literally, by the end of the game and the downloadable content, you cover all of this. And it's huge. I believe at the time it was made, it was the largest sandbox map ever made for a game. The game is loosely based on this book, the Odyssey, and to a certain extent the Iliad, in terms of the characters that you'll meet, and the respect that you'll be fighting Cyclopses. You'll be dealing with the story of Odysseus and Hector and Achilles. You'll meet the mythological creatures. You'll go on an odyssey, very much like the Odyssey described in this classic book. And if you haven't read this in school, I do recommend reading it. It's just one of the first action adventure stories ever written. It still holds well today, and it's touching. It's exciting. And a lot of the things that we talk about and deal with in life today, you'll understand them better having read this. One of the major classics. This is two books, the Iliad and the Odyssey. The Iliad, both are about events in Greece. The Iliad is about the Trojan War, which was when Greece attacked Troy, which was in Macedonia, or Asia Minor, I'm sorry, in modern-day Turkey. And they sailed 1,000 ships because they were trying to get back the wife of one of the main Greek leaders, who was stolen by the brother of Hector. And the second book, the Odyssey, is about a character who we meet in the Iliad named Odysseus. and his long journey to make his way back home to was it Ithaca or Attica, I think. It's been so long since I've read it. I like this map of Greece here, the city of Troy, and on the back. I really do love this edition of the book. The picture right here is an event in the Odyssey when Odysseus needs to hear the song of the sirens, but because of their music, it will entrance a man and captivate him. So he has his men tie him to the mast, and then he has to listen to the song. So, and they all plug their ears, so he could understand where he needed to go. So it's just one of the cool parts of the book. If you ever watch a movie called "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," it's kind of like it's very much inspired by the Odyssey, the things that happen to the characters. Okay. So let's talk about this Assassin's Creed Odyssey Collector's Edition guidebook. I don't have very many Collector's Editions guidebooks for my games, but I have another Assassin's Creed one that I'll make a future video about, and this one. So I only really have two. I bought this because I enjoy the game so much that I wanted to explore every feature of it and not miss out on anything. And I'll give you a little bit of a short review of the game in this video. I really love it when you open the book and you see important things about the game. First, you see the spear that is a magical item in the game that you carry regardless of which character you choose to play, the brother or the sister. The action, the Spartan kick. If you watch the movie 300, you'll probably get that reference. That's also something you can actually do in the game. You can ride horses, you have a guiding eagle, and you can explore all of these great places in Greece. The first section of the book, and you can see there's little tabs that show the different sections. Well, this is the essentials. This is like if you want to jump right into it, it just gives you the rundown of like the different things, your horse, your ship that you'll be sailing, your abilities, the spear of Leonidas, that's the spear you carried that belonged to your grandfather. Icaros is your eagle that helps guide you, it helps spy for you. Battles, how to deal with battles and war, your inventory, different animals, different gear, dealing with mercenaries and bounty hunters and cultists. And then you get to the next part, your main quests. Then we get into seriously how to use this guidebook. If you really want to seriously treat this like a textbook and treat the game like almost like a class, like if you're really into it and you really don't want to miss out on it. So this is kind of like a walkthrough, and it just shows you where to go and what to do. Now, one of the features of the game is there's two ways you can play it. You can either play it where you're walked through it with guides and arrows on your mini map, or you can play it where you have to find clues and talk to people to find out where you go next. So the way the game designers want you to play is the second way I described, which is using clues to find your way around. And if you have a lot of patience and if you really get yourself immersed in it, that's the more fun way to play the game. Then you really can savor all of the locations, the buildings, the recreations, the details are excellent. I've been to Greece, and I want to note some of the places I went to when I was in Greece. I went to Corinth, Acrocorinth. I've been to Athens. I've been to Nafplio. I've been to Mycenae, the Peloponnese region, lots of little towns and stuff, and so many of these places are recreated faithfully. Especially, I was really impressed with Mycenae and how faithfully it was recreated. It almost felt like I was back there. Um, and then, as you can see, chapter by chapter is part of the walkthrough. Megaris, Attica is next, which is where Athens is at. You meet Pericles, the founder of democracy. You meet the great minds of Athens, like Socrates and Hippocrates, and they sort of become your sidekicks in a way. This is a very the reunion, so it's just walking through all of these different places you're going to visit. It also gives you tips on how to make money quicker, how to solve missions faster. Then there's some very important parts of the book that will come in really handy if you get frustrated. Like, for instance, where to find all the cultists, because you can't really advance in the game and you have to deal with that. Then there's different endings. How you can as you can see, there's 9 different endings that you can possibly have. And considering you can play as either hero, Alexios, or his sister. What was her name? Because I've always played Alexios, and she's Demos when I play it, which is, but oh gosh, I'm blinking. Cassandra, I think, is her name. Yeah, that's it. And so yeah, and I haven't played Cassandra yet, but I think it might be interesting to see how, if some of the plots are different with her instead of Alexios. I don't know how that would be. Now, then there's some downloadable content that I'm going to talk about. If you enjoy the game a lot, then download the things from the PlayStation Store, and then there's even more missions where you can explore different areas that are opened up in the game on the map. You meet new characters, you have new landmarks, and so forth, new stories, new quests, and they add on kind of to a great extent like how Origins was. You even get to explore the mythology a little bit, like traveling to the underworld, whereas like in Origins you got to go to different realms in the Egyptian mythology. Here you can go to different realms in Greek mythology, which is a really nice bonus. So the downloadable content is well worth it for the action, the stories, and the things you'll get, the different attributes you can build onto your character, and then launch yourself back into the game timeline with these cool enhancements. That's kind of cool. Then there is a tremendous amount of downloadable content, including weapons and armor and animals that you can do. There's I'm trying to think of some other features that are worth a try in this game. That you definitely want to do that, the downloadable content, because it just stretches out the game. There's also a like Origins, there's a history version of the game where you can travel around as the hero character and explore the historical details without any violence. And that's a lot of fun if you're like me and you really just want to understand what you're seeing when you're walking around in these villages, what the people are doing. Like that, some of the villages they're making chalk or plaster. Some of the villages they're making dye or they're making wine or something like that. And it's funny when I was oh gosh, I was in Barcelona and I went into this underground Roman ruin, and not too long ago. You ought to go to if you could go to Barcelona. Make sure you take in the underground Roman ruins. It's one of the largest subterranean ruins in the whole planet, and it's just layer after layer of history. Well, anyway, in Barcelona, all they did is they made this fish sauce. That was like the industry, and this ruin was the whole fish sauce industry, and it was what was it called? It was a name for it. It was like a ketchup that was really popular in the Roman times. But I can't remember what it was called, but it'll probably come to me before the end of the video. But it was just funny to see all of the specific things that they used to make this fish sauce. And so when you trek around in this game, you'll see that they've added details to show, and then on the historical tour you can see what all the things they're actually doing are supposed to be. Here it shows you the different weapons you can get. Like Origins, there's different levels of weapons. There's rare, there's just common, rare, epic, and legendary. And ultimately, you want to have a whole set of legendary weapons. They have the special perks. This shows you the different kind of characters, guards, different cultists, bandits, enemies. So, a lot of fun to be had on the game. A lot of hours and hours and hours of fun, whether you like to sail, whether you like to travel by land or horseback, or just, explore, enjoy that huge world, that huge open world environment. Lots of secrets. Another interesting feature is they allow users to make their own adventures up, so you could come across those and play them if you want. Some of them are interesting, some of them are good, some of them are not so good. So a lot to do. And now the second half of the video, I just want to sort of give a little bit of the criticisms. These are the things that I thought detracted a little bit from the game. So, first of all, one of the things that they were really proud of doing in this game was making it where as you level up, everyone else, all of the other NPCs in the game level up too. So essentially that effectively means that no matter how powerful you are, you're never going to have that fun feeling of being super powered in the game. You will always be kind of on par with other characters, no matter if you go back to where it started. So I wasn't really thrilled about that. Now, it might be more realistic, and some people might find it more fun, but after a while, you're like, what is the point of leveling up then? So, the second thing is, there is a little bit of redundancy after a while. After a while, the missions, the many quests that you'll have, and there just seems to be a never-ending amount of them with acting and voice work and everything, but so many of them are the same thing. Like you'll meet someone and they'll ask you to kill 5 sharks again and again and again, or you'll meet someone and they'll ask you to go find something of theirs that was stolen by bandits, and that'll happen again and again and again, or whatever. And or that can get a little redundant. That's something I after a while, if you're a completionist like I am, which is kind of a flaw, I think you want to get 100%, but after a while you get tired of doing the same thing over and over again. I kind of wish there were a little bit more variety of quests, but at the same time, you also have a game that you can play for like 16 years probably and never get 100%. So I'm sure there's someone watching who's gotten 100%, and way to go, but I didn't have the patience to go for the whole 100%. So that was a little bit of a criticism. I mean, I'm not saying that it was not fun, it's just a little redundant. I don't mean like crazy redundant, but then there's the sort of things that are annoying to game in gaming, like for instance, like getting a wanted level and constantly being attacked everywhere you go. After a while, that gets a little tiresome. Or the old following missions where you have to follow someone and they can't see you, and that just gets a little tiresome too. But they pack them with escort missions. Some of the unpopular things that game designers love to put in the game. Sometimes we call it filler. Um, but like I said, there's a few criticisms for its massive open world, great historical detail, good acting, good character work. Another criticism I have is the graphics. They weren't. And sometimes I felt like Origins was a little bit better. And I'm playing both of these on the PS4, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. But it seems like some of the graphics in Odyssey were not as good as in Origins, which was strange. And even not some of them, I felt like the one that took place in Paris. What was that one called? The one where he's in the French Revolution. That one. Sometimes I felt like that had better graphics. So, yeah, I feel like the graphics came down a little bit, but on the others, and the story and the world was much bigger than these other games. The one I was talking about was Unity, and that one was in Paris. And I don't think you ever really even hardly leave Paris. Whereas in this game, you're all over Greece, and like in Origins, you're all over Egypt. But this Greece game includes all of the islands, and kind of like in Black Flag, you have a ship where you can just travel anywhere you want, and you're free to just. I mean, you can start day one of the game, and you can just start traveling. You don't have to follow the mission. Now, granted, you're probably going to get eaten alive somewhere, but I mean, you might get killed by a chicken, but which the chickens are pretty tough in this game. My character's been killed by chickens. But that's just something I noticed, and I didn't know if anyone else noticed it. So there were a few things like that, but still, I mean, some of the locations and graphics were so relaxing and fun to be in, and it is a calm, relaxing game to play, and that's something I really like. It is a good, relaxing game that you don't have too many puzzles. And one of my favorite things about the game that I really like is exploring all the tombs. I think that's one of the best features of the game, with all the tomb raiding, I guess you could say, because they're all over the map, and there's a few booby traps, and they get progressively worse, but you find treasure. You find little stellas, and you smash through hidden walls, and I never got tired of going into the tombs and exploring those. There's caves to explore. You can also mine minerals from the caves that you can use for crafting. There is a bit of crafting and lots of upgrades. You can customize how your character looks, how your ship looks, how your horse looks, what powers your weapons have. You have a lot of freedom in this game. You have a lot of options in dialogues as to what you can say to people. It's got a lot of drama, some romance, a lot of moral dilemmas. It's a bit dark, too. It's not exactly the cheeriest game, but I don't know if any Assassin's Creed, with the exception of maybe Syndicate, was really a laugh riot. Generally, these games are kind of dark and nihilistic. But I've always liked Assassin's Creed, starting with the old Ezio adventures that are still fun to play. They're still fun to get into and play. This guy right here. The first, I guess the first one was really Altair, but my opinion, my first Assassin's Creed adventure was playing Ezio, and I thoroughly enjoyed the recreations of Florence, Rome, and Venice, and Constantinople, and just savoring and just drinking in all of those details and historical details of places I'd been to and seen, and just a whole lot of fun. Assassin's Creed games to me are just terrific fun. They for someone who likes history, they it's the closest thing you can get to, to walking and interacting in these historical locations that you've read about, and that's a lot. That's really cool. You would think I would have more Assassin's Creed like loot here, but I really don't. This is it, and I have one more book to show you in a later video. I've never wanted to open him. I like him in this package. I feel like you open these things, and then after a while they get dusty, and you get bored with them, and they end up in a Ziploc bag, and then eventually sell them on Facebook Marketplace. Drinking some coffee. But if you are old school and you like to use a book instead of just going to all the online walkthroughs, this is a fun thing to have. It does remind me a lot of a textbook. Like when I'm reading it, I feel like I'm studying. I feel like I'm gonna be having a quiz on this stuff. Another criticism of the game a little bit is it's this huge open world, and believe me, they put it to pretty good use. Like, think about a game like Just Cause that has a big open world that's practically devoid of anything to do. None of the doors open. You never see anything. It claims to have this massive open world, but really it's just an empty open world. But Assassin's Creed tries to pack it with collectibles. All the Assassin's Creed games have some sort of a collectible, and that makes a game more fun. For instance, like in Unity, you would collect, or no, it was Syndicate, you would collect like pressed flowers, and you would collect letters from Queen Victoria and so forth. In Assassin's Creed, well, you collected a lot of loot, for one thing. You kind of collected abilities. And as far as Easter eggs, there are a few obvious Easter eggs. You don't still find those in games as much like you used to, like in Grand Theft Auto or whatever, where there would just be blatant Easter eggs. Like there would be a scene from No Country for Old Men or Breaking Bad, or a ghost on top of a mountain or something like that. But for the most part, the game is very serious and straightforward, so there weren't a lot, with the exception of a lot of references to 300, the movie, and a few references to Troy, the movie, because, for example, you can buy the armor that Brad Pitt wore in Troy, almost identical to what he wore in the movie. There's also some pretty good music in it. Another criticism I have to say, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, the load screens. If your character gets killed, it seems to take forever and a day for the load screen to finish. It's very, very slow loading, and that can get a little frustrating. But other than that, I feel like I covered a really fair review of the game here. I'm not a professional critic, I'm just a guy, but I hope you found, if you're thinking about buying the game or playing the game, I highly recommend it. Those were the only criticisms I had, but I still think it's an outstanding game. It gave me hours and hours of pleasure and relaxation, so definitely give it a try. And I guess I'll close this book for this video. So if you enjoyed it, please rate, comment, subscribe, click the bell icon, and I will be back again. Bye.